when I hit my teenage years, I started getting involved in smoking, underage drinking. That led to fighting, smoking weed, and I ended up selling a lot of weed at that point as well. And I decided this wasn't really the path I wanted my life to take. So just one thing, don't join infantry. So I couldn't have my little brothers tell me what to do, so I joined infantry. And I went through all of my training, and it was really, really hard. I'd come from running my own routine my whole life. Not that that was a great routine, but waking up whenever I wanted, doing whatever I wanted, and all of a sudden I was getting micromanaged every second of every moment of every day. But it was a great experience, and I thrived. And I started to learn how to be a proper person and how to be a man. I started looking for a bit more of a challenge after 5 years in the infantry, and I happened across clearance diving. I didn't really know what it was, but a friend of mine said he was going to try out for it, and he seemed really excited. And this was a guy that didn't get excited about anything. So I thought, if he's excited, it's got to be good. I've never dived in my life. I don't know what a clearance diver does, but I'll give it a go. And I had a pair of fins on and a 1 mil black wetsuit. And I just started kicking on my back towards the bow of one of the warships. And I got about 2/3 of the way there, and I looked over my left shoulder. And before I even looked back, I got this massive whack in the leg. Kind of like someone had punched me in the leg. I didn't think a lot of it. I just thought it was maybe some driftwood, or the guys in the boat got a little bit too close. And then I turned around and I looked down and I came face to face with a massive shark's head. Not what I was expecting. We stared eye to eye for what felt like a couple of seconds, and then my survival instincts kicked in. My mum was so angry that the doctors wouldn't look after the pain that she threatened to run them over in her car. They didn't appreciate that. It got so bad for me that I asked her to go down to King's Cross and buy me a gun so I could shoot myself. All I wanted to do was die. The way I saw it, I had two choices. I could wallow in my self-pity, get depression, be upset, and estrange all of my family and friends and have effectively a really crappy life. Or I could choose to be positive, motivated, happy with what I did have, and try and spur myself on to bigger and better things and having a good life. And when I measured it up like that, it wasn't really much of a choice. I didn't know how the hell I was going to do it, but the first step was making that choice. After 6 months, I got to go back to work, and they said, you can work 3 half days a week. So I worked 5 full days a week. I couldn't go back to the diving team, so I had to go and work at the diving school instructing the new clearance divers, but I was back. Having a job gave me fulfillment. It gave me a purpose to get up every morning besides just going to the gym. I loved it. All of a sudden, I was back on the boats, cruising around the harbour, yelling at trainees, and I'd trained myself so that I could do as many push-ups and as many chin-ups as the trainees that I had to teach. I'm a firm believer in do as I do, not as I say. You have to set that example. Like I said, I have pride in myself, I have pride in my work, and I have pride in my job. And anything that I ask of other people, I expect to be able to do myself. That's the standard. That's how you get people to respect you in your work, the people underneath you, the people above you, the people that you're working for. You can't just expect things to happen all of a sudden. Nothing in our lives are like that. We don't instantly know maths. We don't instantly know how to write. We don't instantly know how to do anything except for breathe. Everything that we can do is taught, learnt, practiced, perfected, and put into motion. Learning to utilize our emotions are no different. I learned to use my anger while I was training to motivate me in the gym. I used my pride to help me walk. Walking with a prosthetic leg, they say, uses 80% more energy than walking with 2 legs. Whenever I step up or I slip up and I skip and I trip, the same noise in my head, Homer Simpson going, oh! And I go, damn, I tripped. But everyone trips. It's okay to trip occasionally. Plus, I had long pants on, they didn't see. Practicing that happiness and that motivation, that sense of pride in myself and my achievements is what took me from this guy in a hospital bed with one leg, one hand in complete agony to a guy throwing himself out of a plane with 150